Super 9000's game room.
This is one of those games that has an absolute wealth of titles. Sometimes it's referred to as Joe and Mac. It's also known as Joe and Mac Caveman Combat, and it's also known as Caveman Ninja. It's a platform game released for the arcades by Data East, which was later adapted for the Mega Drive, or as Americans know it, the Genesis, the Nintendo Entertainment System, the Game Boy, the Amiga, the PC, and obviously, as I'm reviewing it right here, the Super Nintendo. The arcade game might have been ported to a whole bunch of systems, but it was done by a wide variety of developers. Eden Entertainment handled the Mega Drive version, Elite Systems developed the NES version, Motive Time developed the Game Boy version, and the Super NES version that I'm looking at here was developed and published in 1991 by Data East themselves. The Mega Drive version is considered to be the closest match to the arcade version, with the Super NES version being a sort of reworking. It's similar in style, but it's more of a special different version than a direct port of the arcade machine. The prehistoric period is a great time to set a game in, particularly a platforming game like this. You need an impressive boss, well just pick up any old dinosaur book and turn one of the larger creatures into a big impressive cartoon version of itself. Bang, there you go. The same can obviously apply to the little ones. Yeah, technically dinosaurs and cavemen didn't exist at the same time. But what the heck, it's only a game, right? No need to be too worried about accuracy. Joe and Mac does a great job of doing just this. It's absolutely full of gigantic bosses that look very impressive for a relatively early SNES title, and the game has a very cool cartoon aesthetic. The main guys, Joe and Mac, are just so full of character. The backgrounds are also nice and bright and really pop. You could say that I'm a real big fan of this game's sort of characters and graphics. After all, I'm a huge fan of Little Shop of Horrors, so when I found a boss that looked like Audrey 2, I was over the moon. I feel that the music really fits the game. It has a sort of happy tropical vibe to it at the start, and then it starts to show beats of whimsy, and there's layers that add a bit of intensity when there's a boss. Overall, I really like it, and I feel it both fits the graphics and the style of game in general. The sound effects are quite simple and very much what you'd expect. The dinosaurs roar, boomerangs swish through the air. You'll hear it swishing through the air, and Joe and Mac make ouch noises when hit. It's all exactly what you'd expect, but it's also rather charming. To start with, you're jumping about and swinging your club, but there are 4 weapons you can grab and use. These are bones, boomerangs, flames, and rolling stones. This is how they work. Bones are weak, but you can shoot 3 of them at once. Boomerangs are pretty much the same, but with a much better range on them. Flames are only shot out 1 at a time, but they are very powerful. The last weapon, the Rolling Stone, is probably the best weapon. It's pretty much as powerful as the flames, but you can shoot 2 at once, and they can travel up walls, as well as attacking with the club and the other weapons. You can also jump on most enemies' heads, and sometimes you can use this to reach things you otherwise wouldn't be able to get to. Okay, so if this game has any downfall, it is the fact that the levels are generally very short and very easy. In honesty, it's a very short, easy game. You'll finish it, and you'll finish it quickly. Sure, you have limited continues and no battery backup or password system, but they're really not needed. In honesty though, if you're anything like me, then you won't care if you finish it. You'll just be glad you played it, because you'll have found it to be really fun. It's something that you can sling on in the future just because it's enjoyable. I'd give it an 8 out of 10. It would gain a higher score if it was longer or had extras like a boss rush mode, but as it stands, it's a fun little game. So how much will a copy of this game cost you if you wanted it? Well, loose carts of Joe and Mac, no matter what region you pick, tend to go for about £14 minimum, with box copies going so much higher, so it's not like you can grab an import to save cash. It's interesting to note that recently a Joe and Mac Ultimate Caveman Collection SNES cartridge was released by Retrobit, and it's currently around £20 on Amazon, and contains all 3 Joe and Mac SNES games. As for my copy, well, I got a deal on a bunch of Japanese Nintendo cartridges, about 5 or 6 of them for £35, and this happened to be one of the games I got, so I can't give an individual price I paid for this. I have very recently gone on to buy the Retrobit 3-in-1 retro console that plays SNES, Mega Drive and NES games, and I got the one which had the limited edition blue see-through Joe and Mac in it. The games all work fine, and I think if you wanted to buy that on its own, as mentioned before, it's about £20. That's probably the best way to experience Joe and Mac, because you get a nice new cartridge with 3 games on it, and it also, comes with its box, its manual, and some additional extras. It's also important to note that the original arcade game Joe and Max are on the Switch. They've gone on sale several times, usually for a couple of pound each, so you can probably get like every Joe and Mac arcade game for about £6 if you wait it out. Okay, that's Kerr9000 signing off saying keep on gaming.